This is South Africa, and the first day of a very unusual gathering. This group represents indigenous cultures from all over the world. For years, their governments have failed to hear their voices. Working together, they've been finding ways to change this. This is Venda in South Africa, home to some of the very last indigenous communities of this country. But as their way of life comes under increasing threat, they are fighting to save their culture from extinction.
Nasamsando wa utanda ndobona uri uzula pasi azikotusa chitu nga uri zikochinyalelwa mashango asho chinyiwote
Over the last few years, this community have pulled together to address the issues which they face in this rapidly changing world. This week sees a key step in a process of reclaiming their territory and its governance as their own. They will be using a mapping methodology, which has been used extensively in the Amazon rainforest. The aim is to make a visual record of their territory, their way of life, and the knowledge that they share as a community.
This mapping process, it's a way to awake people and make them realize that they are the ones who can make the changes and that can bring the important elements of the past to make them alive again in the present and make them really productive and effective in the future. So it's a self-organizing process. They are the ones who make their own questions, they are the ones who make their own maps, and they are the ones who would be using their maps to strengthen their own process. The first step of the mapping is to create the map of the past and to recreate the ancestral and the original ways of living so that they have a reference, and then people can bring out all the knowledge, the essential wisdom, not only of humans but also of nature and sacred sites and trees and rivers and rocks and every single being that is there.
For indigenous people, like all of those gathered here, the struggle to communicate and to be understood in a Western world has proven to be difficult. They have traditions and cosmologies that are unique, often preserved only in their minds and passed from generation to generation through their own methods of teaching. Unfortunately, governments have generally fallen short on trying to understand, and even less to accommodate these differences. For the people here, they understand their land through a philosophy called Mupo, which refers to a great order of living things, of which humans are just one small part.
When we are drawing a map, we said we're drawing the ancestral territory, if you describe it in English. The ancestral territory, we were drawing the Mupo map, not just the map of direction. Mupo is a word which describes the origin of creation, of all creation, of the universe. When we look at nature, it's Mupo. When we look at the sky, it's Mupo. That sound of a river has to be there because it's the original creation of the universe, of Mupo, that the water has to flow like that. Mupo means that movement of leaves of the tree. If we don't have Mupo, it means we don't have the trees. The leaves on the trees are Mupo. They give us the air. which is the mopo air. We call it in our Venda word, muya mope. It means that air which comes from the tree. According to our traditional custom, every person, all animal, insect, every living thing, it needs muya mope. And once you say muya mope, you get muya mope only from mopo of the air. When we are drawing the maps, we draw 3 maps: the ancestral map, and the map of the present, and the map of the future. We see that we have elders who understand this mopo. Like myself, I learned from my father, who was old. I learned from the elders. They said we cannot live without mopo, and we lack knowledge of mopo. This map is targeting to be a knowledgeable tool for the future generation, meaning the children, and also as a reminder to our government, so that they see the value of mopo and they see also how the distraction is.
As dawn breaks for the second day of mapping, there is time to reflect on the importance of this unusual collaboration.
This encounter is historical and it's unique because it's the first time that indigenous people, like, they come together and they come to share and to get inspiration from the others. They have been working for many, many years, but they had never met before. So it's so inspiring to see that they can share about their processes, they think about the things that they have achieved, but also the difficulties that they have faced, and they learn from the paths that the other ones have been walking along.